Welcome back to A Considerate Life. Today I want to talk about the inverse relationship of beauty and usefulness or utility. Now, as always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like this content, subscribe to the channel, and then you can also share.
Sharing! Ernie is sharing his chalk with Bert, and Bert is sharing his paper with Ernie. Good sharing, guys!
Yes, share the video. I think it would be funny to share this video with someone for whom the content is the most irrelevant. So someone that is the most pragmatically minded in your list of contacts, send them this video and it'll be funny, at least between us. So to get at this relationship of beauty and utility, I was first tipped off of this in reading this book, Watership Down by Richard Adams. It's probably about the fourth or fifth time I've read this book. If you're unfamiliar with Watership Down, the characters in the novel are rabbits. But as with most sort of like science fiction-y or fantasy genres, it allows Adams to do a lot of commentary on, I think he has interesting things to say about art and language, regardless of whether or not he's conscious of doing this. As the characters are moving through different situations, we come upon these different themes that I think are worthy of reflection. So without getting into the meat of the book, I'm just going to read a passage of text here that I think illustrates this relationship of beauty and utility. The full moon, well risen in a cloudless eastern sky, covered the high solitude with its light. We are not conscious of daylight as that which displaces darkness. Daylight, even when the sun is clear of clouds, seems to us simply the natural condition of the earth and air. When we think of the downs, we think of the downs in daylight, as we think of a rabbit with its fur on. We take daylight for granted. But moonlight is another matter. It is inconstant. The full moon wanes and returns again. Clouds may obscure it to an extent to which they cannot obscure daylight. Water is necessary to us, but a waterfall is not. Where it is to be found, it is something extra, a beautiful ornament. We need daylight, and to that extent it is utilitarian. But moonlight we do not need. When it comes, it serves no necessity. It transforms. It falls upon the banks and the grass, separating one long blade from another, turning a drift of brown frosted leaves from a single heap into an innumerable flashing fragments, or glimmering lengthwise along wet twigs as though light itself were ductile. Its long beams pour white and sharp between the trunks of trees, their clarity fading as they recede into the powdery, misty distance of beech woods at night. So there Adams has given us two examples, daylight and moonlight, and water versus a waterfall, as a way of looking at the inverse relationship of beauty and utility. An inverse relationship, you think of it this way. For example, Boyle's law in chemistry.
Are you familiar with the principle of Boyle's law? The what? Boyle's law states that at a constant temperature, the volume of a confined ideal gas varies inversely with its pressure.
There's an inverse relationship of volume and pressure. So as pressure goes up, volume goes down. As volume goes up, pressure decreases, right? So that's the inverse. That's an example of an inverse relationship. And I think what Adams tips us off to here is that beauty and utility also have something like an inverse relationship. And I think of it this way. The more beautiful something is, the less we need it to do something. It's just, for example, a really good piece of art. It doesn't need to do anything. It just needs to hang there as an object of vision and admiration, right? But think of something that you need to be useful, right? So for example, a knife. If I really am in dire need of a knife to cut something open or to save a person's life, do I really care whether or not it has ornamental scroll work on it, or if it's just basic in its utility? All I need it to do is be sharp enough to cut the object, right? So I think that's a good example of the way in which the beauty of something and its utility are inversely related. Now, extending that idea a little bit, and again, I warned you that I was going to wax philosophical a little bit. I think this may also apply to political theories. So, for example, I heard Thomas Sowell remark one time about how liberal political ideology is much more pleasing, it's much more gratifying in terms of it's more pleasant than sort of this harsh conservatism. The problem is it just doesn't work. And the question then becomes, well, why do people prefer, or some people prefer, liberal political ideology if it doesn't work? And one of the answers may be that in the realm of politics, beauty or perceived goodness, there's an area of philosophy called axiology. It's the study of values. So there's political value, ethical value, aesthetics, value of beauty. So there's already this intimate relationship between, in axiological terms, of value in terms of politics, ethics, and aesthetics. Well, in terms of theoretical virtues, the virtues that theories have, it may be the case that, in my working thesis, is that political theories are the most valuable virtue of political theories are in the areas of ethics, aesthetics, value theory, right? And starting off with atoms, examples of the inverse relationship of beauty and utility, I think we could see that as a political theory increases in its perceived goodness, its perceived beauty, its pleasantness, then people may not require it to work as well. But for those more hardcore empiricists who think in terms of functionality, it may be that conservatives are less swayed by the perceived ethical superiority or the perceived aesthetic value of their political theories, and really just want to maximize their utility. So that may be a line along which individuals see political theories in difference, and this inverse relationship of beauty and utility may be a helpful explanatory element of that. Now, normally I will preface what's up next, but I've really run through all my ideas recently, so we'll see.